Aloha and mahalo as we look at OKO Grab Art number 5. This introduces a new category for us of bear hugs from the front, number 5 and number 6, arms free and arms pinned. The first one's going to be coming from our 12 o'clock, our green zone, standing neutral. You don't know it's coming. All of a sudden you get grabbed in a bear hug, hopefully not a suplex to bonk you on your head, hit yourself with the planet. But as you do so, this is what we call a when then. When my opponent does this, in this case the bear hug from the front, then I respond. When then. So when he starts, I'm obviously not going to be able to stand in the same position. I'm going to be knocked back a little bit because of this force coming in to grab me. I'm going to need to find my balance. And so the way we do this in practice and in training is we have our students go ahead and get grabbed, get pushed back, and to find their balance and to find their footing, to establish a base of action. So they get grabbed, my arms are free, and as I land, I'm going to land in what's called a forward bow, or a forward bow and arrow stance. As I take a step back naturally, I'm going to find my balance, I'm going to push my heel down and in, shift my weight forward to stop my opponent's forward momentum. As I do so, I'm going to snake my arm around and place it at his back. If it's Chris, getting a little evil here, instead of just placing my hand at the back, what I would do is either use a back fist or a hammer fist at the lower back or the kidney to be my backstop. So I'm going to bring my hand around and strike. Now my right hand, which is free, is going to lift the head, either finger palm up or palm down, and you can actually use the philtrum right here underneath the nose. If you press hard enough, it creates an unconscious response or a semi-conscious response to the action. So I'm in the forward bow, strike, lift up, and that gives me an opportunity to reach towards his throat. Either I can reach in and press down where the clavicles meet, just below his Adam's apple, or I could just press with a four-finger strike or a thrust punch to the top of the sternum. So once again, from the side, I get pushed, I'm going to take a couple of steps back, I'm going to get my balance, get into that good forward bow, shift weight forward. Strike, lift up, strike. In the sequence of the technique, we're going to both hands up, not just grab, I want to strike and grab. I'm going to use my palm heels together to either strike the mastoids, back at the base of the skull, or the temples, or the maxillary hinge of the jaw. I'm going to strike and grab, and now I'm going to borrow balance and borrow force, knee, and then now follow up techniques and out. With that, once again, now from the front, a couple of steps back, gain my footing, my base of action, strike, lift up, strike, strike, knee, and follow up. This has been OKO Grab Art number 5. Aloha, as we look at some alternate options for OKO Grab Art number 5. Drawing from a couple of other arts I've been trained in, we'll look at a couple of grabs, arms free and arms pinned, that can influence grab arts number 5 and number 6. So in both techniques, we're going to establish a base of action. So once again, we get grabbed, I'm going to create that base of action going with the opponent. The first technique we're going to look at is a technique called striking serpent's head. As he comes and as I establish that base, I'm going to contour up his body with my left hand and I could strike first at the kidney, contour up his spine, follow the contour of his body, and then strike his mastoid. In the sequence flow of motion in striking serpent's head, I'm going to reach my fingers over, grab just under the eyebrows at the top of the eye sockets, and peel his head back, exposing his throat. So once again, I get grabbed, find my base of action, strike, kidney, strike masteroid, grab and peel back. Notice my elbow is now the anchor at his spine. In striking serpent's head, I'm going to make my hand into a leopard's paw, strike the throat, and then take down. The other technique and option that I wanted to present is a combination of techniques from American Kempo and Christian Kempo. Thrusting palms and thrusting prongs. Similar techniques but different application. Both front bear hugs, arm pinned. Thrusting prongs is going to be using our fists pointed with thumbs, and the initial point of attack is going to be what's called the iliac crest, where your hips join your torso. There's a pressure point just on the inside of the radial head. In thrusting prongs, once again I gain a base of action, step back. I'm going to push down and in at the iliac crest. I'm going to hook his arm that is over my arms. This is a bear hug, arms pinned. I'm going to knee. I'm going to kick out his other leg for base of action. And in this case, I'm going to inward elbow. Much like in Grab Art number 5. Now let's look at thrusting palms. Similar yet different. In thrusting palms, once again, we get grabbed, arms pinned, create a base of action now. Instead, they're going to be using the palms to push our opponent's okole out, dropping his height and his depth, giving us opportunity for time. So once again, we're grabbed. As I lean back in that forward bow, push. Once again, I'm going to hook the arm to borrow balance, borrow force. Knee, kick out the base of action, but instead of inward elbow, I'm going to push them towards their third leg. Now from the front. Create a base of action, push. Hook, borrow balance, borrow force. Knee, kick out their base leg of action. Now I'm going to push them instead of towards 12 to 10-30 to push them on their okole. Just a few options for you to play with Grab Arts number 5 and number 6, playing with arms pinned and arms free in front bear hugs. Let's take a look at the concepts, principles, and lessons from Grab Art number 5. Once again, this is a bear hug, arms are free. This is not as severe of an attack as bear hug, arms pinned, as we see in number 6. And once again, what we're going to do is we want to manipulate our opponent's height, width, and depth. In our very first move, number 1, we establish a base and we already start attacking. So as I establish a base, I'm going to strike either with a hammer fist or the back fist to the kidney. As my right hand, which is free, is going to lift the head and then to press. We've got a push-pull action going here. My left hand is pulling towards me. My right hand is pushing. This is causing what we call a negative body posture. As his okole comes forward and his head goes back, there's only so far you can go before you fall down. Once we are controlling our opponent, then what we're going to do is then to strike, whether it's the maxillary hinge, the temple, the back of the base of the skull. And as we hook, we can either interlock our fingers or shape of the crane to gather and to borrow balance and to borrow force for the knee. This should be something that you guys should be used to now, but once again, once I drop my elbows, I'm now able to borrow balance. And I create borrowed force by bringing him down at the same time my knee comes up. Two cars going 30 miles an hour each into a crash is a 60-mile-an-hour crash. Also, something very interesting in here that I talked about in the technique breakdown is you can either lift them up. Once I've created a base of action strike, I can either lift them up with my fingers, or what you can simply do is use the tip of your finger to lift up their nose and to hit what's called the philtrum. The point where your upper lip touches right underneath your nose. Just press there and it's painful. There's going to be a response. So in Chris's version, I'm going to strike, I'm going to lift at the philtrum and then strike down and in with my fist. Strike, knee, and respond. With that, this has been the CMP for OKO Grab Art number 5. Stay tuned for number 6.